Some things just go together. Wine and cheese, flowers in springtime, and yes, books and bottles. We pair your favorite author with your favorite drink. Your host of Books and Bottles, Benita Johnson.
Hello and welcome to Books and Bottles. I'm your host, Benita Johnson, and I got my wine ready for another fun show tonight. If this is your first time with us, welcome. This is the show where we introduce you to your favorite author and pair wine with the new book that we're introducing you to. If you've been here before, welcome back. Whether this is your first time or your 100th time, please share so we can grow this audience. So today we have a person who is new to us. She's never been on Books and Bottles before, and we're excited to introduce you to her and talk about her new book, Soul Soaring, Miss Valerie Sayer.
Oh, thank you, Benita. It's such a pleasure to be here tonight.
It is a pleasure to have you. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. It's been a beautiful day here in Florida.
Oh, Florida. I'm in D.C. It's cold.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I love the sunshine.
What part of Florida?
We're in actually Port St. Joe, which is on the west coast, and it's called the Forgotten Coast. So it's really rural and beautiful and just delightful people everywhere.
You know, I was in Fort Walton Beach a couple weeks ago, which is also on the west. And so it was my first time over there. So it is a beautiful part of the state. And so folks should visit. So let's jump into this book, Soul Soaring. Yeah. So congratulations, because we are within days of the book launch. So that's always very exciting. So congratulations. And we want everybody to run out to get it. So is this your first book?
I've written actually one other book that's more of a health book. I'm a health professional, but my passion is really energy and people. And so it's been really nice to actually put that into a book to honor people and our connections with nature and each other.
I love that. So tell us a little bit. You know, I don't like to give the whole book away. And because this book is so new, I haven't had a chance to read it. So this is like a very green and, interview. So I can't tell any secrets.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll tell a few. Maybe that would be good.
Okay.
Well, one of the things is how the book started happening as I started taking care of my dad, who I've always been very close to, that got very sick right at the beginning of COVID. And I had just moved to Florida and was flying back and forth to Ohio. And all of a sudden, I started hearing poetry. And I've never written poetry. I don't know much about poetry. And it was so interesting and so healing that I actually would have to stop when I would take walks in between caretaking to actually put it in my phone. And then it just turned into this beautiful process to honor my family and honor nature, then animals, and then self-realization. And it just kept happening. And so the book has 5 sections. And so it really helps anybody relate to something that might be a real hardship or something that they really connect to, like the sunshine or a tree. But it's really something that I think most people don't think of poetry as something they maybe understand or would enjoy. And I think, and sometimes that's what I hear. And again, I hadn't had much, a background in poetry. So it was an incredible process. And I paired it with experiences and different people or places, including pictures and some original art. So it's really got a lot for anybody.
It is. And so I share that experience with you of being a caregiver. And like you, my father became ill just at the beginning of COVID as well. So I was a full-time caregiver. So I do relate to that. So was the writing therapeutic for you?
It was. And, it ended up being something I called my heartistry because it really helped me.
That word.
Yeah. Someone said, I looked it up and I'm like, well, I made it up. I don't think it's a new word now, but but it certainly makes you feel something. Because I think we're all creative in some way, but we don't always get to tap into it. But I think sometimes when we've had hardships and people we love, and it wasn't just my dad, my son passed away at 19.
Oh,
And I
wow. I'm
really
so
thought I had, yeah, thanks. I thought I had processed things well until my dad got ill. And then one of my second favorite men in my life,
yeah.
and so it really brought out a lot of healing. And when you keep your heart open, it's amazing what you can connect to. And I think it's just such a hard time for so many people in so many areas. And I just love people. I love when someone shares their soul or their heart or
Yeah.
something that's beautiful to them. So it's just really a beautiful, I hope, work of art artistry that people will enjoy. Even if they just open it in the middle of one page and read it at night before they go to bed, I think it will resonate with a lot of people on different levels.
That's exactly how I read poetry books or like books
Yeah.
that are like journal type books. I just kind of
Yeah.
open the page. And because I am a very spiritual person, I
Uh-huh.
believe that's the message that I'm supposed to receive today.
Yeah.
I just
Yes.
think there's no such thing as a coincidence. This is divine order, and it's what I'm supposed to receive.
Absolutely.
I heard you mention connecting with nature.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I did during that period, I started a garden. It was something
Oh,
about
huh?
touching the
Yeah.
dirt, reaching into the soil. I never
Yeah.
wore gloves, but just kind of reaching
Uh-huh.
into the soil, and it
Yeah.
just kind of, brought home. So I do understand what you say was that connection to nature that
Yes.
helped you
Yeah.
kind of find the words to make your poetry book.
It did. And I think when you're in nature, it's just that energy of whether it's the dew on the grass or it's very still and peaceful, and yet you'll hear a bird, or I would have deer come over, or I'd see a rabbit. And it was just one of those things that I've always loved being outdoors.
Mhm.
But this was different. This was like you said, that connection, like you said, whether it was for you digging in the dirt, for me it was walking on the earth and seeing the sun shine through the trees or glisten on the water, those kind of things. And like I said, I've always loved outdoors, but this was different. It's changed ever since then. It's been the most wonderful thing that I hope everybody finds some connection to.
Yeah. And then, and it could also be, people say, what do they say? A reason, a season, a lifetime. Some things,
Yeah.
it's just for the
Yeah.
season, because it's I was really connected to that gardening process.
Uh-huh.
And like a year and a half after my dad passed away, I was like, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
for that
Yeah.
time. So, I
Yeah.
do get that. So we had an author
Absolutely.
on, and she's a very good friend of mine.
Uh-huh.
Her name's Rita Ricks, and she
Uh-huh.
believes in silence. And so what I just heard
Uh-huh.
you say was just kind of walking out there. It's like you can hear every little
Yeah.
thing. It's like
Yes.
I did a silence retreat with her, and everybody who knows
Oh,
me know I
wow.
talk incessantly, so I'm never quiet.
Yes.
But sitting there quiet, I could hear the leaves hitting together, like,
Yeah.
on the trees
Yeah.
as the wind blew. It's just amazing what, we allow to come in our spirit. And so I
Yeah.
commend you because you took that and then you put it into words. So how
Thank you.
challenging was the process of actually sitting down and putting
Yeah.
these words to paper?
Yeah, it was a lot more challenging than I thought, because I didn't have it arranged in any type of order. Every time I heard something, I would put it in my phone, and then I would come home and either type it or, copy and paste it. And then
Mhm.
I would put it away. And it wasn't until I had seen some whales, the gray whales come in with their babies in Mexico, that I realized I had written so many. I thought, I wrote 3 or 4. And when I looked, I was like, oh my gosh, I already have 30 some. I'm like,
Wow.
no, that can't be possible. That's how in the moment I was with each situation that helped me
Yes.
just connect to it. So it was very surprising. I mean, so
I
the
love that
process was
natural
beautiful.
process. That
Yeah.
seems so natural because it didn't seem like when you started writing, were you thinking that I'm writing a book or I'm just
No,
I'm writing some
not
poetry?
at all. Not at all. I wasn't even thinking poetry. I thought, this is good processing. But then when I would read it or I would show it to someone, they're like, oh my goodness, and so then one of the things that happened is I then realized there were 5 categories. And that surprised me because it just did show me how, again, like you said, there's different things that we all need at different times in our lives. And So there were certainly people was one section, and that started with my dad and thinking about my son and the people that I love so much. I've always had such wonderful, deep relationships with friends and even colleagues and my family. So I feel so lucky. I'm one of those people that just, like you said, I like to talk, I like to smile, I like to get to know people. So I feel so honored to have that ability to feel that way about people, because I know not everybody feels that way, you know?
Yeah.
So that was one of the chapters that I kind of knew just because that's how it started. But then I started getting more connected to animals, and I've always loved animals too, but it was seeing the gray whales and just having this amazing experience. And then, you know, and then being somewhere and seeing deer come in and get really close to me when we've all gone for walks in parks probably and so on, but all constantly. And I'm like, wow, there is something to this, you know. And then there was to earth, like you said, you know, where there were trees or other parts of the planet that I started connecting to. And then there was a section on self-realization, again, coming to realize that we all have to really connect to who we are and hopefully to each other or to nature to kind of pull our hearts up when they've been broken or when they're hurt by things going on in the world. And I think it's just a way to really process that. So it was a very big surprise, you know, and a lovely process. When I was interviewing my artist that I asked to do some pictures for the book, we did an interview and she put it on her blog, and I was reading her blog this morning. I'm like, that is the most beautiful poem. I read it 3 times. I didn't realize it was mine, and I'm not joking. I was like, wow, she writes poetry too. I was like,
hey, wait a minute. So do you have anything with you?
Yeah, I do.
That you can read for us today?
Sure. Do you have a section? Are you thinking, do you have any kind of request of
So
you know?
I love people, as I said, and I love nature.
Okay.
So anything. You choose your favorite.
Okay. Are you a mom? Are you a mom too, Benita?
I am.
Okay. So I'll read Mothering. How about that one?
Okay. All right.
I'll read Mothering. Thousands of highs and lows, a pain worth enduring, heart-stopping worry and love, expressing centuries of memories and actions, untying the dysfunctional ties, finally unbound joy or disconnection, together for every meal and every event, separated to remind us we are here for our own soul's purpose, missing, hoping, and guiding while allowing, mistakes, broken hearts, and then self-love, careers, travel, new families, kids or no kids, standing back to watch and enjoy, sometimes offering home base for the broken parts and days. Aging parents bring memories, gratitude, and forgiveness. Secrets revealed. A determination to not repeat patterns. Stillness becomes peaceful. Death becomes a transition if you let it. Your parenting continues to transform. You can offer more consciousness, appreciation for every journey, letting it be, becoming more, destined to mother and transform an empress. So that was a little bit of a longer one, but
it's the summation of the process that we go through as parents, and it you know, as a parent, it does sort of repeat itself. You know, we get to this stage, and sometimes we have to go back. So I do appreciate that. Thank you so much for sharing.
Oh, thank you for asking. That was very nice of you. Yeah.
So when you were thinking about, you said you interviewed a person for some pictures. So tell me, since I don't have the book in my hand yet. Tell me about the pictures. Did you do photographs? Is it drawing? What can we expect?
Yeah, 2 different types of pictures. First I asked Donna Drossett. She was a professional artist that I have done some work with for the years and years called Life Cycle. And she has a gallery. She's been an artist her entire life. And I wasn't going to ask her at first because I thought there's no way I could possibly afford her. And I thought, you know, what do I teach my kids and anybody? Ask for what you want, could say no, maybe you can collaborate, maybe not. If it's right, it'll happen. She said, yes. And we worked it out. And then what happened is she said, well, how I work is I like to read or hear what your poems are about. Not all of them, just pick some. And then I will develop 5 or 6 pieces of original art for them. And she did black and white sketches. And then I asked her, I loved her work so much. It was so hard. I mean, we only had one that wasn't exactly right, like to fit the poem for me, and she changed that. And then she did the cover, and it's a beautiful cover. And it's, again, a part of the heart, which I did not know until we interviewed, when I interviewed her a few weeks ago. And I was like, wow, it just all matches again. Like you said, when there's that synchronicity or you have that connection, things just naturally flow in the right direction. So there's 5 pieces of original art to go with 5 of the poems. And then there's a color cover of original art. And then there's some photographs, 14 of them, that match some of the poems, like Mother Tree. So there's a tree that's lights coming through when I was in Arizona, and I just couldn't get away from that tree, and again, I love trees and so on, but I've never felt connected to a tree before. So I think they're really beautiful, whether you even just want to look at a picture and then think what it means to you, or a piece of art, and then see if it connects to the poem or how it connects to you or your life.
And it's my daughter is, I don't know, 30. And so I think when she was maybe 13, I gave her a picture because I owned a wine shop. And so, raising kids in the back of the store. And so I gave her a Wine Spectator magazine because she was irritated because no 13-year-old wants to be stuck in the stockroom, right? And I said, write a story. And so it was like the beginning of her writing journey,
Really?
Because she wrote like this whole thing, and we didn't publish that book, but when she was 15, we did publish her second,
Wow.
So I mean the visuals, and I can understand when you were walking and you see things, these things are so inspirational to you. So
and they touch really you,
they do.
They touch you somehow. I was thinking about even when I was honored to be able to meet you and speak today, that I was thinking about even, well, what would my book be paired to? And it certainly could be paired with anything, but boy, champagne is the first thing I thought of.
I should have asked you earlier.
And I thought, well,
and it's exciting because we're right at the launch. Yep. So I did pair with, I have a red blend today, and this is one of my favorites because it's very inexpensive. It's called Root Cause. It is a red blend, and it's like Zinfandel and Syrah. So it's a lot of just bright fruits in your mouth. And so if there's a visual for it, this is certainly, very exciting and very light, and it will go well with, I don't worry about pairing. Sometimes the wine is the meal for me. So
yes, hey.
Just be real. Okay. So before, since I do have to ask you, how'd you come up with the name Soul Soaring?
It was one of those things that I just said, well, when I said I want to commission a book, they said, what's the title? I said, I never thought about it. And
books have to have titles.
I know, and isn't that funny again? And I do know that, but it was again that connection. At first I thought the artistry, but it's really more of a work of artistry and our own artistry. But to me, we all, no matter what you believe or don't believe, I think we're all connected to something, and hopefully our souls all recognize each other, that we're one. So I really felt like we can really, no matter what's going on, no matter what things have happened in our lives or in the world, if we could stay connected to our soul and to each other and soar during those times, I just think it's just really could help all of us.
I love it. I really
Thank
appreciate you
you.
being here. So since we are Books and Bottles, I just want to talk a little bit
Yes.
about something we
Uh-huh.
have coming up real special with
Okay.
Wine Crawl. March 31st through April 2nd, we have our Wine Crawl Chicago. 3 days of wine, music, and food. If you'd like to join us or more information, please hit us up at www.winecrawl.wine. We hope to see you there. I will be there all weekend. Exclusive White is a sponsor. Tusk Spirits is a sponsor, and Tusk is a spirit. It's a vodka and rum that's made out of hemp. So there's so many uses for hemp. Come out and learn about Tusk. Come and visit some different spots, and we're going to hang out at the House of Blues on Saturday night. So be sure to hit us up at winecrawl.wine for more information and to get your ticket. We appreciate you. So Valerie, where can folks get your book?
Yeah, so my book will be out, like you said, in March, probably mid-March or so, and it'll be on Amazon and, of course, bookstores. So it'll be easy to do that. And you can also go to Soul Soaring, SOARING, book.com.
Okay.
That's all right.
We'll
Soul Soaring. Yeah, no problem. Soulsoaringbook.com. Yep. And that'll connect right to Amazon.
Our production team is amazing.
It is so great. I'm telling you, isn't it? It's helpful, right? The team is everything. Yes. I'm telling you, we can't do anything alone,
I know.
Yeah.
So again, thank you so much for being on our show, and I encourage our viewers to purchase the book and check out Valerie. I'm sure you're going to be in for a treat. So thank you, Valerie.
Thank you, Benita. So nice to meet you.
Who are authors and you want to be on Books and Bottles, please email us at info@grose.com. We thank you so much for tuning in. Please remember to share. And until next week, cheers.
Join us, Indie TV, where you will see the talk shows, movies, drama, action, and comedy. Be the first and see it first. Sign up now for free